So how do you stop your new Rottweiler puppy from crying and barking and whining all night long? Well, that is exactly what we're going to discuss in today's video. Welcome back to the Fenrir Rottie Show. If you are new here, my name's Will. I'm a canine behaviourist and I'm the founder and CEO of FenrirCanineLeaders.com. This channel is dedicated to teaching you everything you could ever possibly want to know about the incredible Rottweiler and then how to become a high-level canine leader that raises perfect Rottie companions. So if you're a lifelong Rottie lover or just thinking about getting your first Rottweiler puppy, then I promise you this channel is for you, so don't forget to subscribe. But let's move into this week's Q&A, and I was going through my emails and I had an email from somebody that just yesterday got a brand new 8-week Rottweiler puppy. They're incredibly excited about the process. However, first night went terribly badly. The dog cried all night. It was barking. It got itself really distressed. It was really upsetting to listen to. They didn't know what the right thing to do was. Should they go and give in to the dog? Should they ignore it? People are giving different bits of information and advice on what is the best approach of getting your new puppy as quickly as possible to be able to settle and sleep through the night. So that is exactly what we're going to discuss today. Now, when I help people on this journey, I always break it down that there's kind of two approaches that you can take here. You can take the tough love approach and you can take the softly approach. Both reach the same point. The tough love one gets there a little bit quicker, but it's hard to listen to and it's more dramatic at the time. The softy approach takes longer, but you don't necessarily have to listen to such extreme levels of crying and barking and whining, for example. So we'll start with the tough love approach, and that is that you choose where you want your Rottweiler to sleep long term as it grows into an adult dog, whether that's downstairs in the living room, in the kitchen, in the utility, in the bathroom, anywhere that you want it to do. And from night number one, you set the dog's bed up. I like to use a crate. I think it offers a good denning solution. It helps with toilet training. They're an excellent tool that should be utilized, in my opinion, by all dog owners. But you can have a bed set up. You can have a puppy playpen with the bed inside. However you want to go about it. It's not necessarily the end of the world, whatever route you choose. But you set it up in the room that you want them to be in long term. And then every single night you make sure they've had their food for the day, they've had plenty of access to water, they've been able to go out for a toilet break before you go to sleep, and they've had plenty of exercise and mental stimulation during the day. Cool, you've done all that, then they go where they're meant to go, you shut the door and you go to bed and you leave them. And if they cry, you leave them. If you bark, you leave them. If they whine, you leave them. And you just go through that process for as long as it takes. In the morning when you come downstairs, they could have cried all night and you completely ignore them until they settle down, offer you a little bit of a calm, quiet behavior. And then at that point, you can then take them out to the toilet. When they do the toilet outside, at that point, then we can start the praise. Then we can say hello. Then we can give them a bit of fuss. But we let them know that you get zero attention, zero praise, zero positive things happen if you're crying, whinging, or barking. We know they've had everything. Yes, the puppy might think that it's been left on its own and that it's going to die and it's a natural response, but that doesn't necessarily change how we go about dealing with the solution. We know they're going to be fine. We know you've fed them. We know you've watered them. We know they've been out to the toilet. They just need to go through the process enough times to learn, actually, I'm not going to die, and if I make all this racket, nothing nice happens. They ignore me. However, when I'm quiet and calm and well-mannered, then I get lots of nice things. So I might as well just be quiet, calm, and well-mannered. In my experience, there's some dogs that will do that halfway through night one. There's some dogs that will even take 2 weeks to do that. Usually I find that 3 days is the kind of breaking point for being able to get a dog through that process. Night one being the worst, night two being almost as bad, night three being significantly better, and then going into night four, almost exclusively gone. That tends to be the common theme moving with and bringing a new puppy into your home. So that's kind of the tough love approach. It's really difficult for those first couple of nights, but is much quicker and gets there in the end. The softy approach that you can take, which I don't have a problem with, especially say if you live in a terrace house, you've got neighbours or an apartment building that you don't want to put them through having to listen to your dog getting really distressed for a few nights, is that you do the same thing with their bed or their crate or their puppy pen, but you start right next to your bed so they can see you, they can hear you, they can smell you, they know that you're there. We still don't give in to them if they cry or bark, but you'll find if they know that you're there, they will settle down much quicker. We give them 2 or 3 nights right next to the bed, and then we move it down towards the bottom of the bed where we give them 2 or 3 nights there. When they're calm and settle well like that, we move them towards the door. wait for a couple of nights until they're calm, then they go just outside the door, but with the door wide open so they can still hear you and see you and smell you. Then we do a couple of nights with the door nearly closed, then we move them a bit down the landing, etc., etc. You get my point, until eventually we get them to where we want them to be, whether that's downstairs, like I say, kitchen, utility, living room, whatever it is. We just gradually, slowly but surely move them away. We wait until they're happy with where we've moved them to. We go through that approach and then we move them a little bit further. A couple of nights, cool, they're happy there, move them a bit further. A couple of nights, cool, they're happy there, move them a bit further. It takes them much longer. It can take a few weeks, depending on how big your house is and how far you want them to go away from the bedroom. It can take a bit longer, but it's a softer approach. It achieves the same outcome, just takes a little bit longer, a little bit more effort. And I don't necessarily think that sometimes in the past I've gone back and forward with which approach I think is better. Nowadays, with the experience of helping so many people with it and seeing so many people go through both processes and come out the other end with a perfect canine companion, providing they're also focusing on good obedience, good socialization and good manners, that's all in my Perfect Puppy course, then I've noticed that as long as they're doing those things, whichever approach they take results in the same outcome. So it's more what they're more personally comfortable with. And that would be the answer that I would give for the person that sent that email, as well as anybody else watching that might be struggling with the same thing. Just don't give in to the barking or whining. Take that overarching approach, not just with crying at night, but with all interactions with our dogs. Any negative behavior in terms of jumping up, barking, whining, crying, chewing, any of those behaviors get completely ignored or corrected and redirected. And then we actively seek times where they're being calm, well-mannered and relaxed. And then we pile on the praise and reward at that stage. The dog will very quickly learn. If I'm calm, quiet and relaxed, nice things happen. If I do any of this stuff, at best, I get ignored. At worst, I get corrected and redirected. And then they'll very quickly start to want to be drawn towards being calm, well-mannered and lovely canine companions. So take that approach and I promise you, you will get there. You're not alone. Everybody goes through this. It's really difficult. It sucks. I completely understand, but I promise you, you will get there. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel and you love Rottweilers, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a future episode. We've got 2 new Rottweiler specific videos coming to this channel every single week. So I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Fenrir Rottie Show.